everybody. Welcome to the Friday team call. Glad you all could jump on. Still have some folks popping on here, but it is past time to get started. So we got a great call lined up for you today. Excited to hear from our esteemed speaker. But before we get to that, we're going to have some leaderboards. So great week, everybody. Want to get my stuff organized here. Make sure to get all my ducks on a row. Should have had that done before I actually went live, but here we are. Congratulations, new rider this week, Eva Bowman. One application, $864, direct to Miss Stella Dinwiddie, part of the fast-growing Dinwiddie team. So congratulations, Eva. We say if you can write one, you can write two. If you can write two, you've got yourself a business started. So keep up that momentum, keep adding those applications, and that's exciting news. So congratulations. Let's do top 10 this morning. We had at number 10, 3 applications, Miss Stella Dinwiddie, $1,319, direct to myself. Number 9, Lionel Anderson, 3 applications, $1,617, direct to John Paul Vetter. Number 8, Terry Myers had 1 application, $1,753, direct to Stella. We had Lee Carter, 1 application, $2,118, direct to Jeremiah. We had Mr. Mark Roberts, 3 applications, $2,229, direct to John Paul Vetter. We had Adrian Cantu, 3 applications, $2,268, direct to John Paul Vetter. Mr. Jeremiah Nolan had 2 applications, $4,246, direct to myself. Spencer Cushion, 3 applications, $4,940, direct to myself. Mr. John Paul Vetter, and some of you will notice that Mr. John Paul's smiling face is not on the screen right now. He's actually traveling this morning, a last-minute trip. So he sends his apologies. Would love to be here, but we'll be watching this recording later. And so, but he is, for the week, 2 applications, $6,336, direct to myself. The number 1 rider for the week, and I think this is actually a first time for Miss Diane Newman to be on the top of the leaderboards with 8 applications. So she led on app count and on APV, $9,045, direct to Spencer Cushion. Congratulations, Diane, number 1 rider this week. That is awesome to see. We had some business turned in late last week. So guys, when we do the Friday morning team call, I'm pulling leaderboard somewhere around 9 o'clock Central on Friday, and that is and so our cutoff for business for the corporate turn-in is actually midnight Eastern. So we've got a lot of people find that Friday afternoon, Friday evening is a great time to write business, but we want to make sure we capture that. We want to make sure that we give a shout out for those folks. Last week we had Tasia Freighter, 1 application, $1,945, came in after our meeting cutoff. And then Donna Bates had 2 applications for $1,055, again after the team call cutoff. Congratulations for those guys going out on a Friday afternoon and making, keeping their business going. This is a wonderful thing about this business is it is now 24/7. You can do it whenever and wherever you want to do it. Literally, for those of you who are brand new, this is your first call. We've got some folks on these numbers on here. I would say probably 95% of them came from internet conversations. And that is what's really awesome about, where we're at in this business right now. Certainly wouldn't wish COVID on anybody, from everything that we've gone through, not only just the sickness, but just all the other cascading problems that have occurred as far as logistics go. But hey, it's forced us into a better way of doing business. And we're having a lot of people that are finding a lot of success online with this business. So we took lemons and we made some lemonade. So, and doing a lot of it too. So congratulations to all you folks that went out and helped people this week. Quick announcement. Again, remember that on our on October 22nd and 23rd, guys, we are having a conference, a training conference. Normally we do these in person, and it's sad that we can't get together, but obviously given the environment that we're in, we just can't. But guys, these events are huge. And you're going to hear me over the next month. I'm really going to be talking this up because we track the numbers, guys. I've been here almost 5 years now. The numbers, they don't change. If you go to conference, we see people's business typically at minimum double if they're applying what they learned. It's not uncommon for us to see triple or quadruple what they've been doing in the past. That goes on individual production. That goes on team production. And here's the thing. If you have an interest in building an agency, you started talking, you started recruiting, get your people to that event. There's zero excuses for them not to attend this. In the past, obviously logistics of travel, family, there's always some people that just kind of last minute can't make it. That is not the case here, guys. There's no reason not to be at this event. And I guarantee you, we say in the past, if you got 10 people to conference within the next 90 days to 6 months, your agency would be running about 50,000 a month of annualized production, which in our old world, that was agency owner numbers. And it still is for the most part. But we've been talking a lot about it. You definitely want to have as many people as you can get on that. And again, there's no excuse not to have way more than 10 people there for each and every one of you who are building an agency right now. So take advantage of that. Host a party. Get friends and family to come over, do chili night and sit and watch conference with them. If you got folks that you talk to, they're just like, yeah, I'll take a look at it someday. Yeah, I'll get around to it. And you can't get them to open up the link. Bring them to your house. Have a watch party. Make it a fun time. I guarantee you, just the personal development and growth that people are going to get out of this event is. We've had people come who are not in the business. Maybe a spouse or supportive person in their life. Maybe admins, of agencies that attend these events and walk away transformed because of the messages that they hear, the positivity, the personal growth. And so anyway, I'm hyping this up, but there's a reason I'm hyping this up, guys, because I have seen this. I've been in this business long enough to know this is transformational. You get there, you get people there. You and others get there and make sure you watch that event and watch it live, guys. I mean, that's the huge thing about being a part of this is being, watching it together as a unit. And, hey, I expect that night on Crew app, we have a lot of people posting comments. Wow, that was an amazing, I got this message out of that speaker that just spoke. Okay. So enough about that. Without further ado, let's turn it over to our esteemed guest. You see her on the leaderboards every week. She's an up-and-coming leader. In fact, we've been watching her team numbers, been having some meetings with them. And guys, the growth that we're seeing with the Dinwiddie team is just phenomenal. But what I've seen from Stella over the last year and a half that she's been here, she started zero experience in this business, no background, really none in direct sales to my knowledge. She's obviously had some sales and some property management and that, but the face-to-face stuff, that was a new ballgame for her. And guys, you see her on the top of the leaderboards every week, and she's building a team. So I'm excited to bring on Miss Stella Dinwiddie to host the call this morning, share with us from her heart and what's really helped her grow in this business. And guys, take some notes. Take it from somebody who has done this and yes, get your pens out. Stella, can you unmute? I want to make sure I don't have. I want to make sure.
I'm unmuted now. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, all right, good. I was just making sure that I didn't have the settings messed up here where I couldn't unmute you. So, Stella, this is your show. I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Chris. And I just learned something this morning that I would actually like to start this meeting out with. So if only for this one time, for maybe 2 minutes, all of you could unmute yourself, just real quick for 1 minute. I want to see those little buttons unmute. Everyone unmute yourself. You too, Jerry, Adrian, unmute yourself. James, unmute yourself. Okay, so today is Chris Menifee's birthday. So I would like you to help me sing happy birthday. Ready? Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday
To you.
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday
To you.
and many more. See, you don't need
And
to
I
stop
can
now.
tell which one of you have slow internet based on the pace that the happy birthdays came in. So thank you. That was kind of one of those round robin songs.
So now if I may ask the rest of you to mute yourself, please. Thank you so much. And thank you, Terry, for that reminder, because I did not know. So I'm so excited to be here, y'all. I just super grateful for this opportunity. You know, my name is Stella Dinwiddie, and I am direct to the one and only Chris Menifee, and I'm super grateful and super blessed to be here to share my heart with you all today. I'm extremely grateful to our founders, you know, as you hear, Brandon, Brian, and Casey, for this amazing opportunity that has truly changed my life for the better, and better than I even originally imagined. I feel so honored to be asked to host this week's meeting, and I got to pick a topic, and I asked myself, you know, what is something I could talk about that I feel would help you as a new writer here? So I had to think, you know, well, what helped me when I first started here? And honestly, you know, I will tell you that it was having the courage and confidence to just keep pushing myself harder and harder through that first initial learning curve. But here's the thing, for me, I never gave up, because that's just not who I am. But I struggled a lot, and with a lot of frustration, you know, some days to the point of tears, because I was so frustrated, you know, for not figuring it out as quickly as I thought I would. And then I had to learn how to reshape my thinking. And the funny thing is that, you know, I thought that, you know, I was going to come in here and have it all figured out. I honestly didn't know that my thinking was going to be an issue, because my whole life I've been called, you know, positive person. And I know deep down that I am a determined soul when I run after something. I saw all the success from all the leaderboards, and I knew I had, you know, even though I didn't have like a big sales background, as Chris mentioned, I used to be in property management. I used to manage large apartment communities. I was a trainer of all different sorts through sales and leasing, time management. It's kind of funny to me, you know, new hire orientation, risk management. Like, I was a trainer of all these different hats. So I thought, well, this is no problem. I can do this, you know, get me in there. But like I said, it didn't quite turn out that way for me at first. You know, I had to learn how to build my thinking so I could have that confidence and courage to make that activity happen for me. So that's what we're going to cover today, is how to start here and how to have courage, you know, and the confidence to do it. And I want to warn you, you know, my job here today is not to motivate you. You can get motivated from any YouTube video or anyone's testimony, even my own testimony. I want to desperately teach you. I desperately want to teach you something that you can take with you. You could take away today, and you can apply it in your everyday routine here to help you. So as Chris mentioned, I hope you have your pen and paper ready, because I am going to ask you to write down a few notes. And I'm going to challenge you to ask yourself a couple of questions at the end. And these questions are designed to make you think about how you can achieve your goals here. Okay, so let's just start from the beginning really quick. You know, some of you are still studying for your tests, and some of you passed your test, but you're waiting for your background check to come through, and you know, so that you can start dialing, and you're eager to get this ball rolling for yourself. And many of you have already passed your state exam, and you've already been dialing. You've already made appointments. You've already helped families. No matter which category you fall into, this information is going to apply to you, even once you get started. So here goes. So first of all, we know we need to follow the system that's in place because it's proven. The numbers don't lie. And all the names you see on the leaderboards each week, those are real. Okay, all the testimonies that you hear from everyone on all the audio calls, including myself, they're real. Like, I'm real. I'm not fake. I'm not just, you know, some little illusion. I'm real. And so is everyone else. And so are all those leaderboard numbers. So we know it can be done. Okay, so let's start with the system that we have in place, because that's what works. And I want you to write this down, because they say that if you don't write it down, you'll forget about 80% of what you heard in just over 24 hours or something like that. So I want this to stick with you. So the number one thing on the top of your paper, if you'll please write 4 cornerstones of success. What are my 4 cornerstones of success? Here at SFG, just 4 cornerstones of success. Number 1 is believe in what you're selling. What does that mean? So I looked up the word believe. You know, it means something that's true, that you feel sure of. It means to accept something as true and genuine. What are we selling? Okay, first of all, let's not call it a sale. Because if you've ever helped a family with protection, we know it's not a sale. It is a connection, okay? It's finding out what their need is at the deepest level and then filling that need. You know, Cicely Newsom once said, the only reason we call it a sale is because at the end of the process, after, you know, you've talked to them and helped them and found out what their need is, after all of that, at the very end, we ask for their bank account information and they give it to us. So it becomes a sale of a transaction. That's the only reason it's called a sale. We do not sell them on the product. We find out what their need is and we help them, okay? So otherwise it's all about helping that family, asking the right questions to help them. And that's why we say that this is a job that we do here. It's truly a labor of love for our families. And when I'm calling them on the phone and I'm asking, you know, hey Dave, how are you? You know, or hey Susie, how are you? This is Stella Dinwiddie. And if I ever have a person on the other line, sometimes, you know, they don't know who I am. So they'll be like, what are you selling? Because, you know, I asked them how they were and they don't know who I am yet. I tell them, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to help you, Susie. I'm getting back to your request, you know, regarding your mortgage for $400,000, you know, to see what you qualified for, you know, to have your mortgage loan paid off when you die. That's why I'm calling you. Then they usually say something like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were, and so on. So some ways to help your belief, because we're on belief, is to write a policy on yourself. You can do it for free through the My Life Policy Plan that Cemetery has graciously offered to us, okay? It allows you to walk through the process of completing an e-application to help you become more comfortable with that process and more confident, you know, so you can see what that whole process is like A to Z. You can also write an accidental policy on yourself or on your spouse or one of your friends, but start with yourself, because if you don't have, you know, very much money, like I didn't in the beginning, or like a lot of our families, you know, don't, then just start low with like 100,000 of accidental. It's cheap. They don't ask any medical questions. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? It's, you know, if you Google the top 10 leading causes of death in the United States, do you know what the number 3 are? Number 1 is heart disease. Number 2 is cancer. And number 3 is unintentional injuries, or also known as accidental death. So if you knew you could potentially die of an accident because it's the 3rd leading cause of death, wouldn't you want to, you know, be able to provide for your family in that manner? And it costs less than a lunch. I mean, you get 100,000, it's probably like less than 15 bucks for you. And so that's less than a lunch. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you instill that own belief? Because you're going to ask someone else to do it. Why wouldn't you? And if you want to help your application count, because, you know, we're also tracking on the number of applications that we write. Hey, guess what? It's going to help your application count, you know, and then you get to help them with an accidental. So what if they can't afford a bigger plan? So what if it's a smaller APV? You are helping that family. If they died of an accident and that was $100,000 that paid out to, you know, his spouse, because maybe the guy's a motorcycle rider, or, you know, so his, you know, risk of accidental is probably larger, or there's some other reason, it doesn't matter. It's the 3rd leading cause. So you're helping that family. That's why we are here. Okay, you help them with an accidental, and it's going to help you increase your belief because you're writing more applications, you know, and if you're new, again, it's going to walk you through that process so that you know what that's like beforehand, the process from A to Z. And let's not forget, you know, to provide solutions to your warm market. And if any of you were on that call yesterday, that PO call with that powerhouse team, Jamie and Sarah, whoo, you will have got some great ideas on how to reach out to your warm market through social media. You can also ask your friends and family members, you know, if they would let you practice your presentation. You can say, you know what, I'm really new and I just started, you know, this new career. Can I come over and can I just practice with you? You know, and you ask, you know, both them, the husband and wife, or maybe it's just a single mom or single dad or whoever it is, or your brother or your sister. And if they say, oh, what are you doing? Just say, can I just show you when I'm there, because I'm a little nervous about it and I just want to make sure I do this right. And I want to know your opinion and I want your feedback. And they're all going to say yes. They all will. And you never know, you know, you might even end up helping them. It happens. But, you know, you'll also get practice. Okay. So that is believing in what we're selling or believing in what we were helping people with. Okay. That was number 1. Number 2, write this down. Massive action, constant correction. Massive action, constant correction. Okay. What does that mean? It means you start with the action of picking up the phone and making those dials. And that's based on whatever your goal is. Okay. If you came here wanting to make, you know, I don't know, 5,000 a month, maybe for you, that's 8 to 10 appointments a week. If you came here wanting to make 10,000 or maybe 20,000 a month, you know, then you're going to need more appointments. And we know that if you want more appointments, that means you're going to need to dial more. Okay. And here, my friends, is where it gets tricky. For most people who start here, the difficulty or the challenge is on the phone. You hear it across the board. Okay. We have the best system in place here. It's a plan that's proven over and over and over and over and over and over again. Every single week you look at the leaderboards. Every single week you see what people are producing. Those numbers don't lie. Those are real. So we know it's a proven plan, okay? But what if you're not willing to do that back end work to make that plan happen? Then it's not going to give you the results you want, okay? It's like the architect, you know, who draws a huge mansion. And, you know, for this owner that wants to build this mansion on their land, you know, the architect has drawn this plan up for many families before, And, you know, many families before have had this gorgeous mansion built, you know, on their land. But if the owner of the land fails to execute that plan, you know, he doesn't buy the supplies he needs, like wood, concrete, whatever it is, and he doesn't have the crew to build that mansion, it's never going to happen. Okay, same thing with us. If we don't buy our leads and we don't pick up the phone, it's not going to happen. Okay, so let me just tell you, most talented people come here and they get stuck on the phones for one reason or another. It kind of happened to me when I first started here. Why? Well, let's just examine this, because if this is one of the main reasons that people let themselves fail, and the key word is we let ourselves, you let yourself. The plan, the proven system, the system we have in place, it's proven. So it's not the plan, it's not the leads, it's not the plan, it's us, it's you, okay? So if we know that, you know, if we know that that's one of the main reasons why, you know, people let themselves fail here is due to the fear of the phones, or maybe it's not a fear, maybe you just dislike the phone, you know, it's agonizing for you to do that monotonous work, you know, the mundane. If we knew that this was a root cause of the problem, wouldn't you want to know what that reason is and how to fix that? Well, I did. And so I worked really hard on how to figure that out. And I'm still learning, but I did figure out some things, because I was determined to figure this thing out here and figure out, how can I do this? Okay, so write this down, please. The next time you hear your voice say, I can't do this, or why can't I do this? Cross that off and write down, how can I do this? How can I do this? Every single time. You're going to hear it in your head. I can't do it. Or, you know, why can't I do this? All of a sudden remind yourself, how can I do this? No, you know what Stella said? How can I do this? How can I do this? Because believe me, you'll figure it out. I heard this on a call one time. That's why those audios are so important. Matt Smith, you know, you all know who he and his twin brother Brad Smith are, the two genius brothers who are now on the advisory team. You know, they came in here with like over $200,000 in debt. And, you know, now they figured it out. He said one time on a call to do that, replace it with, how can I? How can I? I wrote that down in the very beginning on my mirror. Instead, ask yourself, Stella, how can I? So I'm going to encourage you to ask yourself, how can I? Replace it with, how can I? Okay? Because simply put, it's usually a fear. It's a fear of rejection, a fear of, what if I don't make enough is, I love what Chris once told me. He said, you can go from 0 to hero in a week. Let me just give you a quick little example of that. When I first started, I freaked out because I burned all my bridges, meaning that I quit my job and I jumped in here full time. And I didn't make my goal of what I thought I was going to do. And I was very concerned about making my rent payment and, you know, paying all my bills and all of that. I'm a single mom. And Chris said, Stella, you can go from 0 to hero. You know, it's up to you, your activity. So I got on the phones and I dialed and I made appointments, and I'll be darned. In one weekend, I put over $2,000 in my bank account, you know, just in the nick of time. It's doable. Okay. But why is this so hard? For some people, it's simply a lack of discipline to just force yourself to sit there and do the thing of dialing. That's what it really became for me in the beginning. Okay. And then one day I learned, and I listened to a lot of audios. Those of you who know me well, you know that every morning I feel my mind, I exercise my brain, not just my body, but my brain, because it needs it. And with people like Brian Tracy, John Maxwell, Gary Keller, you know, Tony Robbins, you name it. I'm huge. I'm a big sucker for self-development because I love what it's doing for me in my life. And one day I heard Brian Tracy of No Excuses, he said, and it just, man, it stuck me in the heart. It said, it's not that you don't know what to do, okay? Because some days you'll figure like, I don't know how to put my schedule together. I don't know how many leads I should get. I don't know this, I don't know that. It's not that you don't know what to do, trust me, but rather that you don't have the discipline to make yourself do what you should do, whether you feel like it or not. No excuses. So I'm going to encourage you to write that down, and I'm going to say it one more time real slow. It's not that you don't know what to do. It's not that you don't know what to do, but rather that you don't have the discipline to make yourself do what you should do, whether you feel like it or not. Okay, because there's going to be days where we just don't feel like it. You can't go off of feel. When you had a job and you didn't feel like going into work, you got yourself into that office, or somehow you got yourself, into that place of employment. Even if you worked remotely, you got yourself onto that conference call because you had to, or whatever it was. They gave you an assignment and you completed it. You went into your office, you went into whatever kind of job it was, and somehow you did it. You didn't feel like it, but you did it. Same thing here, okay? So, and for us, it's the act of dialing, of getting on the phones. And sometimes that lack of discipline is getting distracted. That was me in the beginning. I wasn't used to working at home. And so, I, all of a sudden, that distraction lost my traction. I love that Ashley Tarr said that the other day on our national call. She said, distraction loses traction. And the reason that's so important is because for some of you, many of you, I don't know if you ever heard me talk about momentum, but Chris and I and Jeremiah and Scott Mank had the honor of talking about momentum, and I learned a lot. I love momentum, okay? But if we get it and then we get distracted, guess what happens? We fall behind, and then we get frustrated. And because we feel like, our plan failed to dial, however many dials it was in that day. And then we trick our thinking into thinking that, we blew the week or we blew the day. No, you didn't. So let me just have you write this down. When is a good time to dial? When is a good time to dial? Here's the answer. Monday through Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And on Sunday, you could dial whenever you want, but for the most part, I think for me, the safest time, if you dial on Sunday, because maybe you might need to make up some time. One day I made 4 appointments on a late Sunday afternoon, but for me, I keep it between the time of 3 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. But that's plenty of time to get some appointments in if you need to for the next day, because maybe you set up your Monday and then come over the weekend. By the end of the weekend, you get all these texts or emails saying, oh, sorry, something came up, life happened, we can't make it. I talked to my wife, she decided not to do it. We all get that. And all of a sudden now you're down to 2 appointments on Monday and you were at 6. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to hardly, then you're like panicking because now the pressure is to help those 2 people. And you don't even know if they're going to show up. Maybe they're thinking about it. Who knows? Maybe they don't have enough money. So get back on the phone if you want to make it happen for yourself. So those you can dial. My point is, I'm not saying to dial Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. All I'm saying is that you can dial anytime during those times. It's up to you. You get to create your own schedule here. You are your own boss, okay? So, we talked about the lack of discipline, right? So, but the beauty of this business is it's never done with for the day or for the week or for the month, for that matter. Okay, it's never over. Let me help you with this. Okay, it's never over. You heard Chris mention the leaderboard numbers this morning. For any of you who pay attention to leaderboards, like, on our call yesterday with the Pogue call, you saw my name up there. I'm not boasting. I'm not a boaster. But I will tell you, I'm consistent. And I once heard Miranda Martin say, I'd rather be consistently great than occasionally awesome. I don't think anything big of myself. I really don't. But I do like myself, and I do know my strengths and weaknesses, and I do focus on my strengths. Because if I focus on my weaknesses, then it'll just pull me down. Why do I want to do that? I don't. So I focus on my strengths, okay? So, if you didn't make enough appointments, you didn't dial enough, I don't know, something happened. Well, you can make it up. You can, because we just said, you can dial anytime from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And now, since the borders are down, if you're on the West Coast and maybe you've got some kind of system in place, family at home, that you've got to be there for your kid from 9 to 11 a.m., well, you can buy leads on the East Coast and you can start your dialing at 6 a.m., where normally it's too early here, but you can do it. You can always find a way, okay? You can find a way. You can either find a way or find an excuse. Jim Rohn says, you'll either find a way or you'll find an excuse. What is it going to be like for you? Do you want to find your way? Because if you do, you're going to have to cut your excuses out, okay? That's just the bottom line. So I hate to say it, but most of those are called excuses, especially if it continues over time. I've had to work with my own excuses, so I get it. But because here's the thing, if you were in a JOB, and you'll hear a lot of us call it, just over broke. That's what JOB stands for, because you barely made your bills, barely made your rent. That old place that used to have to go in and clock your hours, clock in and out, or show your work, or your tasks accomplished in order to collect a paycheck, right? If you or I were at our old job, there's no way we would get away with missing week after week after week of, not dialing. If that was part of our job, we would be fired. So here's the thing, we would figure out a way to get our job done. And if we had to leave early or take a few days off, we'd figure it out. We figure out a way to get our job done and take care of our family. We've all done that for years. So why don't we do it here? Why? Because believe it or not, some people have a hard time being their own boss. As funny as that sounds, they have a hard time being their own boss. I did sometimes, okay? And sometimes we have a hard time holding ourselves accountable, on our own. So how do we fix this? Well, if we look at the problem of fear, I would ask yourself, what causes that fear? Did I memorize the script as I was told? And the reason I ask these questions, sorry, let me back up. If it's the problem of fear, if it's the fear of I don't know what to say on the phone, or I'm afraid of what they're going to tell me, here's the thing. There's only so many things that people are going to say. And the only way you're going to learn is to get on the phone. But before you get on the phone, there's two things I want to tell you. Did I memorize the script like they told me to? That's part of the system that's in place. So did I memorize that script? That's one. So that, you can sound more smooth and natural on the phone, because that's going to help build your confidence. Remember, we're talking about how to build courage and confidence, because that's what builds our mindset here. And our mindset, you hear that consistently across the board in every single call. There's not a call here that you will hear that they don't talk about mindset. Well, what does that even mean? Did you memorize the script? Did you memorize the rebuttals? Okay, we say memorize those rebuttals. Did I memorize the rebuttals? So I know how to overcome those questions that they're going to maybe ask me. 9 times out of 10, they're not even going to ask you, but you know, there's a lot of times they will. So did I memorize them? This is super important, okay? And this is one thing I wish that I would have really had gotten down when I first started, but I didn't, because I was too eager to jump on the phones and dive in. I thought, I've got this. Oh, I know how to talk to people. But that's why I struggled so hard. And then one day, because thank God I listened to all these audios. That's the one good thing I did. Remember I told you I focus on my strengths? Well, I'm a sponge. And I was a sponge when I first started here, and I'd listen to all these audios. Every SoundCloud audio I could hear on the Symmetry SoundCloud. And if you're not doing that, then you're missing out, you're losing out. And if you want to get ahead, then I would encourage you, you know, that's going to quicken your learning time here, is listen to those audios, go back. So one day I heard this audio with Miranda Martin, and she said, if I were to ask my team, hey, if I paid you $100,000, if you memorize these rebuttals, would you? And she said everyone would raise their hand and say, yes, I'll memorize it. I'll take that check for $100,000, right? Well, she went on to explain, that's how you earn your 6-figure income here. That's how I did, okay? By memorizing your rebuttals. Because by memorizing your rebuttals, that's what's going to help you make appointments. You can't make money here unless you get on the phone and you dial and you make those appointments. That's the root cause, okay? Oh, and guess what that's going to do for you? It's going to increase your confidence. How great is that? And that confidence is going to build your courage to continue to get up and do it again and again and again. You know, I looked up the definition of courage. It says it's the ability to do something that frightens one and to have strength in the face of pain or grief. Do you have that? Yes, you do. You passed your exam. I'm sure there's things that happen to you in your life. And I bet if you search deep, deep down in your soul, you will recall a time when you cried out to God or to the universe or whoever you cried out to, and you said, please help me. And, you know, in that, so what time, you know, in your life did you have to find deep down, you know, when you had to pick yourself up again and again? You know, I don't know, maybe for you, it was a very painful divorce. You know, maybe you have a lot of regret, you know, that was what it was for me. Maybe it's the loss of someone that you love. Maybe they died, you know. I had that. I lost my dad, was really close to my dad. And that was hard. But, you know, or maybe it was a job that you got let go of. They terminated you, not because you were a bad employee. They just said, you know what, even though you gave all your heart and soul for all these many years, but, you know, then something happened, like, I don't know, coronavirus, or maybe they hired younger people or other people with other credentials. Who knows? I don't know. But they came in and they gave you a small severance and they said, hey, thank you for your time. And that's all you showed for like 20 years of, you know, blood, sweat, and tears with them. You know, or maybe you were like me and you were diagnosed with 2 or more cancers in the same year, years ago. You know, and all of a sudden you're facing morbidity. I don't know what it is for you, okay? But this is what I do know, is you have overcome something in your life. You already have. So if you just need to remind yourself, what did I do to overcome that fill in the blank in my life? So then you need to apply that here in what you're doing, because that's all it is. It's just a matter of believing that you can. Okay, that's where that belief comes from. You know, so, you know, it could be the reason you haven't is because maybe some of you are holding on to some lies in your head that have caused you to not fully believe in your capability to win here. you know, because maybe you tried it a couple of times and you didn't hit your goal, or maybe you tried it for a week and maybe you said, oh, I did make 15 appointments and I didn't make, $10,000. So what? You know what happens to all of us? You heard Chris mention, I was the lowest on the leaderboard this last week, because this last week I've had it was some crazy appointments. I still have 2 people that I'm yet to sign, and I've got like 3 other appointments later today. My week is not over yet. You'll hear Chris talk about how, those people that write on Fridays, sometimes that's what we do when we have to make it up on the back end. We become the clutch, and, at the last minute we do it because we didn't hit our goal already. Just get back up. But what lies are you telling yourself? Okay. For many of you, it's some kind of lie that holds you back. I don't know what it is. I'll be honest with you. For me, for a long time in my previous years, I felt, what is that word? I felt inferior because I am a high school dropout. I didn't graduate from high school. There, now you all know it. And that was hard for me. That was really hard for me because when I went into property management, I just excelled through activity and through, time. They just, they kept giving me promotion after promotion. I'd work harder. And then as other positions came open and I raised my hand, I said, hey, I did this, I can do that. And they gave it to me. Well, I was always scared to death of one day when I would ever have to leave, because one day our company was sold after about 13 years and new mentors came in who I were not fond of. So I started to want to look elsewhere, and I was scared to death that I'd have to fill out that application and write down that I don't have a high school diploma. When did you graduate? Because now all of a sudden they were checking that, where years ago, they didn't really check it. And I didn't really answer it, but now I had to answer to it. So later years in my life, I went and got my GED, and it gave me the confidence to think, hey, I did that. I could do more. Now I could, I can go and I could get some more learning, and I could do something else. And when I came out of my cancer diagnosis, because I ended up, I was one of those people, one of those families that you help, that tell you their story about how they drained all of their money just so that they can put food on the table, so they didn't lose the roof over their head. That was me. So I came here broke and broken, and I had to figure out, I wanted to make a lot of money so that I could recover that $140,000 out of my 401k that I drained and that I was severely penalized with taxes. And, so there went my retirement, and now I got to start my life over. So I came here with the goal of making a lot of money, but I wanted to make sure that I was going to do something good, that I was going to do something that I felt good about. This was it for me. I'm like, okay, I learned more about it, and that was my story. So, and there's a lot more to it, but I will tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. So back to the 4 cornerstones, because I'm running out of time. The third one is, write this down, please. It's commitment to ongoing self-improvement. Commitment to ongoing self-improvement. Okay. Commitment to ongoing self-improvement. Work on yourself more than your business. I cannot stress that enough. Work on yourself more than your business. Jim Rohn says it best. He says that if you work more on yourself than you do on your business, you will make more money. And I and many other people are living proof of that. It takes, eating, that's part of that mindset, feeding your mind. Okay. Be a student of the Symmetry Financial Group training modules and media, getting on those SoundCloud audios, getting on, all of the training, all the telesales webinars, all of that, because you're always going to learn something. It's an ongoing process. And here's the other thing. Don't think that just because don't fall into trap of you have learned how to write maybe $10,000 of business, but then all of a sudden the next week you're you think just when you figured it out, now you're struggling to help families. It's ongoing. You constantly are learning. It's an ongoing process. So be a student. The Symmetry Financial Group training modules, plug into everything, just like you are here today. That's awesome. Keep that up, and keep on all the training calls, and change quickly. I love that Tony Robbins says, hey, if it doesn't work, what do? You try something else. If that doesn't work, what do? Try something else. If that doesn't work, what do? Try something else. If that doesn't work, what do? Try something else. So it's a matter of getting up every single time. Okay. And if many of you, I wanted to share this one thing with you because it's such a huge analogy. For many of you that might be struggling to get on the phone, and you're like, oh, I just need to learn this more. I just need to, I need to do this. I need to do that. There's two things I'm going to tell you is don't let preparation avoid your action of picking up the phone. Okay. Because it's like riding a bike. If you want to learn how to ride a bike, are you going to sit there and read manual after manual? And it's going to give you instructions to pick the bike up, put your left foot on one pedal, right foot. You're not going to automatically get up on that bike and ride it just because you read a manual. And if you want to win here big, which I'm sure many of you do, it's not going to be by reading that manual on, how to win the Tour de France. It's going to take you getting up, falling off the bike, getting back on, pedaling, and you have to gain momentum. And it's constantly, you've got to build your activity. And then one day you can join the Tour de France, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. So learn to just build your activity and celebrate those wins. Okay. And then take 100% responsibility for your life. Embrace the toughness, because there's a lot of toughness here. And you hear it over and over, time and time again, from every single audio call, from every single national call, from every single team call, is embrace the toughness. Why? Because, it's a lot of what we talked about. It's either the fear or the lack of discipline. You hear on all these calls, why do you hear so many calls say, people leave because of the phones, or they leave because their lack of their belief in themselves? Well, we talked about what to do in that case, right? So now take 100% responsibility. So if you're not getting your results, what am I doing? Usually at the end of the day, it comes down because we're not making the dials. Because I guarantee you, I promise you, if you make the dials consistently, you will get the results. You will. Even if you don't get the big giant results that you want your first week, so what? So what if you suck? I'm sorry, because I did when I first started. You just got to keep getting back up, and eventually you will build your activity. I'm sure you've heard this before, but Sarah Pappas talked about it the other day too. She said, I saw all these other people writing more than me. And so what did she do? She said, where I lacked in their skill set, I made it up in activity. And, from day one, for when I first came here, I saw people writing left and right, like Donna Bates and John Paul Vetter and Jeremiah, because I've been here a little over a year, almost about a year and a half. And I didn't write like them. I was struggling. And they would, we used to post how many calls we made, because we would do it on like Friday and Saturday, because the old process which I actually want to try again, but is to primarily dial on Friday and Saturday and make all of your appointments for Monday and Tuesday. Well, they would post, 1, 2, 3, and then by 3 hours would go by and they're like on number 8, and I was still on number 2, and I was still dialing and dialing. I'd look over at the group me app and I'm like, okay, I'm on number 4. 5 hours later, I'm on my 4th appointment that I made, and I hated it because I came in here, and the first time I got on, how you can all write stuff on Crew or Group Me. My first week I came here and I said, I'm going to make 15 appointments this week. I'm joining the team. I'm here. Well, I didn't, but that's okay because I learned how to do it over time, and you can too. So don't let 1 week or 1 month of activity make you feel like you can't do this, because you can, but it's up to you. So, but you have to take 100% responsibility. That means protecting your dial time, sticking to your schedule. And remember, what did we say? Your schedule and your dial time, okay? It's not that you don't know what to do, but rather that you don't have the discipline to make yourself do it, whether you feel like it or not. Because there's going to be many days when you don't feel like it. That's just a given. So the winners, or the people who make it happen, they force themselves to do it. They just say, you know what, I'm just gonna, I've done that before. I didn't feel like it. I don't know, maybe I was up late reading, something happened with my kids, this or that happened, and I had to get, and I like to get up at 5 in the morning because I want to make sure I start my day off right. So I'm tired, right? But I know that, oh my gosh, today's a dial day. So I will force myself to dial even for 2 hours. I'll give myself even 2 hours. I'll just say, let me just see what I can do. Let me just get the dial time in, and I'll force myself. And then over time, it becomes a pattern, because here's something else. Okay. Write this down. I wrote it down the other day. I don't know where it is, but it's, habits. Oh, here it is. Bad habits are easy to form, but hard to live with. Good habits are hard to form, but easy to live with. And everything is hard before it gets easy. That's just life. So take 100% responsibility for your life. And then the last one on the 4 cornerstones of success is number 4, associate with the right people. What does that mean? It means that, you know what, if you have, I'm sorry to say this, but no, let me start over. Learn to develop. I'm going to tell you what it says. Learn to develop relationships with the people that are where you want to be. Be a lifter to those around you, and be lifted up by your friends or your family. If you have some friends, and hopefully, none of you have that here, but if you have anyone, telling you, whispering in your ear that, oh, what it sounds like what is that word? Marketing, multi-level marketing, or something like that. Or it sounds like a scam, or, it sounds like you just have to, you're trying to just get people to join. That's not what it is. I know that for me, for the longest time, it was just, I wanted to make an income. So I did it myself. I did it on my own pen. That was my goal. And then long-term, my goal is to build an agency. But I had to do that on my own time. I wasn't like some of these people that came in here and built $1 million a year agency in their first year. Maybe that is for you. But for me, my learning curve was just a little bit different, and I came in here not knowing anything. I wish that I would have done some things differently, and that's why I'm sharing all of what I'm sharing with you today, because what I shared with you today is going to make a world of difference if you really apply it. But you have to do it. You can't just, listen and say, okay, I'm going to do it. You actually have to do it. Okay. So associate with the right people. That's number 4. Please write that down. Associate with the right people, and edify those around you. Communicate with a positive attitude and protect yours. protect your attitude. Here's the thing I want to share with you on this. Let me just grab this real quick, because a long time ago, I wrote this down, and I really, really love this. Ryan Miller said this on a call, and if you got your pen, please write this down, okay? It's watch your. Write down watch your. Watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Watch your, again, watch your words, for they become your actions. Watch your actions, for they become your habits. Watch your habits, for they become your character. Watch your character, for they become your destiny. You know, you will hear a lot of people like Danny Young and a lot of great speakers, they will say, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Where is that for you? It's because whatever you've done in your life has brought you to this place where you are. But here's the great thing. You don't have to stay there. I didn't have to stay there in that place where I was. I'm now recovering, both financially and internally, because I love that Symmetry Financial Group. I tell everyone it is a leadership breeding ground, and I love that more than anything. It's more about who I have become here than how much money that I've made. I've made more money here than I ever have in my whole career anywhere, and I've made good money. I used to oversee a lot of, 1,000-unit luxury properties, made millions for other people. I made a lot of money in my lifetime. I've owned my own business when I was younger with somebody. But the thing is, I've never made as much money as I have had here. And it's only the beginning. And this is just the beginning for you, if that's what you want to happen. Okay. So you don't have to stay where you are. You have so much ahead of you. There's the plans here. You signed up for it. You passed your exam. You went through that trouble. So if you can do that, you can do something else. And then if you could do something else, you're going to continue, on and on. And the bottom line of what I just shared with you, what I've learned from Ryan Miller, is what we think we become. And I don't see Jeremiah on this call today, but if he were here, I love to give him the credit, because when he said it, it just always rings in my ears. He said, even though he'll say, I didn't coin that, I don't care. He said it, and it stuck with me, is, we believe what we tell our brain. We believe what we tell ourselves. So that's why that is number one on the cornerstones of success here. Number one. So let's just review real quick. Number one is believe. Believe in what you're selling, how you're helping people. Okay, you have to believe in yourself, because those people need to believe in you. Number two is work and counsel. That's that massive action, constant correction. Massive action, constant correction. That is huge to me, because if any of you are out there and you know any sports analogies, anything like that, you can totally relate. You know that if you join a soccer team or a baseball team or a football team, and you try to run out there your first time, to be a quarterback, you're probably going to fail because you didn't practice, right? So same here, you got to practice. You have to practice, but you won't practice until you pick up that phone. So massive action, constant correction. And that constant correction is going back and, figuring out, what can I do better? How can I do it better? Number three is commitment to ongoing self-development. Please feed your mind every morning. Do it for your family. Do it for yourself. If you struggle with negative thoughts because of some lies you're telling yourself, then, fix it. You can. You don't have to be like that. I'm not always like this. I mean, I was, I think I was blessed to have a happy spirit, but I've had my days, and I've been tested, and I've had to yank myself out of the weeds and pick myself up and say, I can do this, and you can too. So, and then number 4 is associate with the right people. Get away from the naysayers. You know, focus on all the right stuff. If you do hear negative thinking, plug into, you know, motivating speakers in the morning, you know, first thing to get your foot off on the right step. So that's what I have for you on the 4 cornerstones of success today, because that is what I have found that actually builds that courage and confidence to be able to make it happen here. And Symmetry's already laid it out, so I'm not telling you anything new. I have just really tried my hardest to break it down to help you understand, okay, so how do we do that? So I hope that I was able to give you some tools today that you can apply today in your dialing, because today's going to be a big dial day, and I can't wait to get on the phones. And if you feel any kind of little bit of dreadiness in that, tell yourself over and over again. Jimmy Spildiner said he used to tell himself, I love the phones. I love to dial. I love the phones. I love to dial. Do it. It kind of makes me laugh when I say it, but do it. I love the phones. I love to dial. I love to help these families. You're going to get rejection. You're going to get all that. So what? You just remember there's people out there waiting for you. And so it's your attitude. So you got to change that. So anyways, I can go on and on because I love all this stuff. I love self-development. And but I'm going to tell you that I want you all to hopefully apply even one thing. If you get one thing from this call today, I will be honored and happy. So go knock it out of the park, or just get some dials in. Just build your confidence with some activity today. That's what I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Stella. That is fantastic. I took a bunch of notes here, and Stella is an example of what happens when you follow those 4 cornerstones. I think too many times people think, well, all right, what else have I got to learn? What else have I got to do? What, you know, I've got to figure this out. I got to figure that out. It happens over and over again. The people that I see follow that little document, little 1-page document, 4 cornerstones. Look at that, and if you're not checking each one of those off every day, every week, every month, then that is where your business is faltering or failing. I mean, that just comes down to it. So. Stella, I will award you a doctorate in symmetry, the symmetry system. We call you Dr. Dinwiddie now, Doctor of Symptology. You are the leader in following this system, and I really appreciate you demonstrating that for not only your team but the team as a whole. So, congratulations, great call, Stella.